This week, a Chinese robotics company started selling a full-size humanoid robot for your living room, and over 13,000 people have already put money down. UBTECH says the UWORLD U1 is the world's first mass-produced, full-size, ultrabionic humanoid, lifelike silicone skin, real hair, and emotional AI that remembers your conversations. Deliveries start in September, and if you only watch the keynote. I've spent the last day going through the spec sheets, the launch materials, and the numbers UBTECH gave before the launch versus the numbers they gave at the launch. And here's the thing. The spec sheet quietly contradicts the keynote, not in one place, in several. So today I want to walk you through what was actually announced, what the machine can actually do, and why I think the most important part of this launch has nothing to do with robots being your friend. On June 30th, at their global launch event in Shenzhen, UBTECH unveiled the UWORLD U1 series. 3 models. The U1 Lite, which is a semi-torso edition, so no legs. The U1 Pro, a full-body model. And the U1 Ultra, the high-dynamic flagship. Pricing starts at 119,800 yuan, roughly $17,000, and runs all the way up to 990,000 yuan for the Ultra. The male model stands 183 centimeters tall and weighs 42 kilograms. The female model is 168 centimeters and 35 kilograms. 88 degrees of freedom across the body, a proprietary dual-pivot biomimetic cervical spine in the neck, and a claim that the system can replicate up to 90% of fundamental human movements. And the pitch, delivered with a straight face, is that the primary interface for AI will shift from the smartphone to the humanoid. That's the keynote version. Now let's check it against the engineering. Now let's read the spec sheet, because this is where the story changes. Start with the weight. 42 kilograms for a 183 centimeter robot is remarkably light. An adult human that height weighs nearly twice as much. As an engineer, small actuators mean low torque. Low torque means this machine is not lifting your groceries, not carrying your laundry, and not catching you if you fall. And UBTECH, to their credit, admits this in the fine print. The U1 walks on flat indoor surfaces using taut gait patterns. It is explicitly not designed for stairs, not for rough terrain, and read this part twice, not for household chores. The robot that's supposed to replace your smartphone as the primary interface for AI cannot climb a single step in your house or pick up a coffee cup with any meaningful payload. And what about those 88 degrees of freedom? That number is real, and it's genuinely a lot. For comparison, most industrial humanoids ship with somewhere between 30 and 50, but look at where those joints went. The dual-pivot cervical spine, the facial articulation. UBTECH spent their degree of freedom budget on the neck and the face, on expressiveness, on looking alive. That's a deliberate allocation, and it tells you what this product actually is. An industrial robot spends its joint budget on the arms and the waist, where the work happens. The U1 spends it on the parts you look at. A dancer and a warehouse worker both move. Only one of them is load-bearing. The U1 is the dancer. A very sophisticated, very well-engineered dancer, but when the marketing says the humanoid will replace your smartphone, the joints tell a different story. Your smartphone does work for you. This machine performs for you. The battery is where the companion story really falls apart. UBTECH advertises 2 to 4 hours of runtime per charge. It's there in the morning, it's there in the evening. 2 to 4 hours means the U1 spends most of its life on a charging dock, powered down, which makes it less of a companion and more of a scheduled appearance. And here's the detail that tells me UBTECH knows exactly what they're doing. Their industrial humanoid line, the Walker series, supports hot swappable batteries so it can run continuously in factories. That's their own technology, shipping today in their own products. That's a product decision, and do the duty cycle math with me for a second. 4 hours of runtime, then a recharge cycle that UBTECH doesn't specify, but which, for a battery pack this size, is realistically 2 to 3 hours. In a 16-hour waking day, your $17,000 companion is available for maybe 8 of them, in fragmented windows, assuming you religiously manage its charging schedule. Compare that to the smartphone it's supposedly replacing. Continuous operation costs money, adds weight, and complicates the thermal design, and for a machine whose real job is to sit in a showroom of your life and look impressive for guests, 4 hours is enough. The spec is honest, the marketing is not. The closed box problem is the one that bothers me most as a developer. The U1 does not support secondary development. None of the models do. You cannot write code for this robot. You cannot teach it new behaviors. $17,000 and you get a sealed appliance. Compare that to literally every platform that ever mattered. The PC one because anyone could write software for it. The smartphone one because of the App Store. If UBTECH sincerely believed the humanoid is the next computing platform, the single most important thing they could do is open it to developers and let a million people figure out what it's actually for. They did the opposite. Every genuinely useful robot behavior of the next 5 years is going to come from someone connecting a capable body to a capable model in a way the manufacturer never imagined. Researchers are doing exactly this right now with open platforms, wiring language models into robot control stacks and getting behaviors nobody explicitly programmed. The U1 has the body for that work and legally, contractually, will never be allowed to do it. This machine has cameras, microphones, and a persistent memory of your conversations sitting in your home. UBTECH says interaction data is encrypted locally. That is their claim. Nobody outside the company has verified it, and because the platform is closed, nobody outside the company can. You are trusting the vendor completely on every axis forever. Then there's the pre-order story, and this is the part I'd put a flag on. About a week before launch, UBTECH's CEO said on a livestream that the company had 11,000 pre-orders at a price of around $30,000. At the actual launch, the numbers were 13,361 orders, starting at roughly $17,000. Look at those two statements side by side. The price dropped by nearly half between the livestream and the launch. So which price were those 11,000 people committing to? The company hasn't said, and this pattern isn't unique to UBTECH. Chinese humanoid makers have spent the past 2 years announcing spectacular order books and operational claims with very little outside verification, and the entire sector has learned that a big pre-order number in a press release is free marketing. UBTECH is better capitalized than the startups pulling this move, and they're a publicly listed company, which imposes some discipline. Every impressive number in this launch comes from the company itself. The order count, the movement percentage, the encryption claim, all of it is self-reported, and the one number we can independently compare, the price, changed by 50% in a week. When a company's most verifiable claim is also its least stable one, that's exactly when you slow down and start asking for receipts. I'm not saying the orders are fake. I'm saying that 13,000 orders for a product nobody outside the company has lived with is a measure of marketing, not a measure of product market fit, and those are different things that get conflated in every hype cycle. To be fair, there's a real achievement buried under the marketing, and I don't want to skate past it. Mass production of a full-size humanoid is genuinely hard, and nobody has done it at consumer prices before. Getting a bill of materials for an 88 degree of freedom biped with silicone skin down to a $17,000 retail price implies serious supply chain work. Actuators, harmonic drives, sensors, custom silicone molding at volume with September delivery dates. That's not vaporware behavior, that's a factory behavior. And this is the part of the story I actually believe because it matches everything else we know about Shenzhen's hardware ecosystem. China is doing to humanoid robotics what it did to drones and electric vehicles. Compress the cost curve, ship in volume, iterate in public, and let the rest of the world argue about whether the product is ready. DJI's first drones were toys, and 10 years later they own the sky. The first Chinese EVs were punchlines at auto shows, and today BYD outsells Tesla globally. In both cases, every unit UBTECH ships in September, even the disappointing ones, generates manufacturing knowledge, supplier relationships, and field data that no amount of lab work can substitute for. The U1 as a product is underwhelming. The U1 as a manufacturing proof point is the most important robotics story of the year. Those two things are both true. It's an animatronic smart speaker with legs. It can't climb your stairs, can't do your chores, can't run more than 4 hours, and can't be programmed by anyone but the company that sold it to you. The companion pitch is theater, and the pre-launch numbers deserve more scrutiny than the tech press gave them. But the factory behind the theater is real. My advice is simple: don't buy this robot. Nobody needs this robot. But if you work anywhere near robotics, hardware, or AI, don't laugh at it either. The first mass-produced anything is always a bad product. It's also always the one that history remembers. Watch the production line, not the silicone face. If this kind of no-hype breakdown is useful to you, subscribe, because I do one every day, and the algorithm only shows you what you tell it to. I'll see you in the next one.